He was dressed like a raccoon. I was a fox. Furry ears. Felt paws. We'd driven 3 hours in itchy polyester because the invite said costume theme, jungle jamboree.
Lied. Planned.
Cool. We walked into the family reunion, only to find candlelit tables, silk gowns, tailored suits, and not a single mask in sight. I froze. My husband's face dropped. Everyone turned, gasps, laughter, phones snapping pictures. My sister-in-law whispered loudly to her husband, "Did they think this was a birthday party at a zoo?" Someone snorted. Even my mother laughed into her wine. My name is Dana Keller, and from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Have you ever been humiliated so thoroughly that your skin stopped fitting your body? We were placed at a small table near the trash bins. Little trash bins. Smelled like spoiled shrimp and broken trust. No waiter approached us. No drinks. Then came my brother, Matt, grinning like a wolf. "I told you it was a costume party," he said. "We thought you'd lighten the mood." He winked like it was a prank. A cute joke. Like we weren't humans in heat-trapping suits, sweating out dignity. Then the check came. $19,600. No warning. No heads up. Just a bill, dropped by a server who muttered, "They said you'd be covering it." My husband blinked. We didn't even order half of this." My sister-in-law leaned back, swirling her wine. "Your family. Cover it. That's what good family does." Matt chuckled. "Oh shoot. We left our wallets and our cards. Oops." It wasn't a mistake. It was targeted humiliation. I looked around. The way no one protested. No one defended us. They all just waited to watch us pay. I whispered 3 words to my husband. Never again. Ever. We paid. Smiled. Walked out in our suits. But when the sun rose the next morning, I didn't just rise. I erased them. First, I froze the joint savings account. $10,800? Mine. Gone from their reach. Then I blocked their phone numbers, shut down our shared Netflix, Spotify, and even the damn Costco card. Finally, I canceled the lease on the vacation property I co-signed for Matt. He didn't know yet, but by sunset he would. By 10:42 a.m., my phone buzzed with rage.
Matt.
Then his wife. Then Mom. All back to back. All voicemails filled with panicked curses and dramatic guilt-tripping. "You can't just freeze the account, Dana. The rent bounced. You want your own brother evicted? This is family, not a war."
No.
This wasn't war. It was closure. They treated us like a punchline. And now they were choking on the setup. My husband handed me coffee. He didn't ask questions. He just kissed my forehead and whispered, "Proud of you." I had supported Matt's side hustle for years. Co-signed a lease for their fancy lake house rental. Even auto-deposited $1,200 monthly into a shared savings account labeled Family Fund. Translation.
They take.
I bleed. They laugh.
Not anymore.
I walked over to my laptop. Typed in my password. Logged into the lease management portal. Canceled the contract. Uploaded the photo of the trash bin table from last night, with my raccoon-suited husband half smiling. Subject line. Final straw. Immediate termination. By 3 p.m., their property manager called me. They're being served a notice to vacate. 30 days. 30 days to figure out what to do when the fool they mocked pulls the rug out. 30 days to sit in the wreckage of their cruelty. That evening, my sister-in-law finally got brave. Called me directly from her mother's number. "Dana, be reasonable. We didn't mean any harm. It was just fun. You're sensitive." I paused. Then said, "You placed us next to trash. You used my money to pay for your designer plates and $900 bottles of wine. You humiliated us, then stuck us with the bill. That wasn't fun. That was calculated cruelty dressed up as family." Silence. "You can't just walk away like this," she snapped. But I already had. "You didn't invite a raccoon to dinner," I said. "You invited the landlord of your comfort. And I just ended your lease on me."
Click.
I opened the window. let the cold breeze hit my face. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt like I finally stepped into the body they tried to shrink. 3 days later, Mom tried to gather everyone for a healing dinner. She called it a misunderstanding. Said we should all just laugh it off like family does. Funny how they always remember blood. Only after they've drawn yours. My husband wasn't going. I've got scars that don't want dessert, he said. I kissed him on the cheek and went alone, because some fires need to be watched burn out in person. The moment I walked in, the air thickened. Matt was already seated, arms crossed like a child at detention. His wife looked like she hadn't slept since I cut the money cord. Mom gave me a brittle smile like nothing ever happened. Dana, she cooed, you look nice. Can we talk civilly now? I sat, back straight, voice calm.
Yes.
But only if you all sit in the truth for once. Matt jumped in. You didn't have to destroy everything. You made us look like fools. You did that, I said. You dressed us like clowns and tossed us beside the garbage. You laughed while we paid the bill you pretended to forget. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped playing the fool you all needed me to be. His wife muttered. We thought it was funny. I pulled out a copy of the lease. The one she never read. Highlighted in yellow was cosigner retains full cancellation rights with 72-hour notice. Here's what's funny, I said. You built a life with borrowed power and thought I'd never flip the switch. Mom tried to interrupt. Dana, baby, you're taking it too far. We're family. No, I cut in. You're spectators. You watched it all and said nothing. And now that the well's dry, you remember how to spell my name. Silence. Real silence. The kind that thunders. I stood up, smoothed my coat. You didn't just lose access to my money. You lost access to me. And that, dear family, is the part you can't replace with tears or phone calls. As I walked out, Matt muttered behind me, You'll regret this. I didn't even turn around. I just said, Regret? I wore a raccoon suit while bleeding from the inside. All you regret is that I finally grew teeth. The door clicked behind me, and that sound, it wasn't closure. It was the sound of permission to never go back. The smear campaign started fast. Facebook posts, WhatsApp anti-chats. Cousins I hadn't seen in years suddenly worried about my mental state. Dana's changed. She's being cruel to her own brother. All over a dinner party and a few jokes. No one mentioned the $19,600. The trash bin table. The 10 years I quietly kept them afloat. Co-signing loans, paying surprise tuition bills, covering bounce checks like a reflex. They just wanted the narrative. I snapped. I betrayed blood. I became cold. So I stayed colder. Colder than they knew I could be. Every time a distant relative texted, Hey, can we talk? I left them on read. Every time someone tagged me in a post about forgiveness and healing, I blocked and moved on. Because when someone robs you wearing a smile, you don't hug them, you lock the damn door. And I wasn't interested in redemption arcs they hadn't earned. My sister-in-law tried to play the sympathy card next. Posted a crying selfie with a quote, Families should never weaponize money. I screenshotted it, archived it, didn't engage, because while she was busy farming pity likes, I was already 3 steps ahead. I contacted the property management firm we'd both used. Sent them the proof of her fraud. Unauthorized sublets, cash rentals, maintenance scams. They dropped her from their client list in under 48 hours. Just like that. Another mask off. But what really broke her? The fundraiser. I launched a community grant in our neighborhood. Named it the Second Chance Fund. Seeded it with $10,000, the exact amount I pulled from our family savings. Tenants applied. A single mom got her security deposit covered. An elderly couple finally repaired their leaking roof. A local student paid off her tuition balance. No press. No posts. Just lives shifted in silence, the opposite of what they'd ever do with money. People started talking. But this time, not in whispers. Dana did that? She used her own money? She's not cruel, she's clean. She cut the rot. And just like that, their little gossip storm lost all its thunder. Because truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just outlasts the lie.
It was a Tuesday.
Gray sky. No drama in the air. I was organizing donation receipts when my phone buzzed. FaceTime request. Matt.
Decline.
It rang again. Then a message.
Please.
Just hear us out. We're outside. I opened the door slowly. And there they were, Matt and his wife. No makeup, no smug smiles. Dressed in panic instead of designer.
He spoke first.
We messed up. Dana, please. We can't get approved for another place. The bank froze our accounts. The management firm dropped us. His voice cracked like a man realizing the joke's over. And he was the punchline all along. She stepped forward, voice lower. We thought you'd never leave. Never fight back. You were always the one who gave. I stood silent. Let them taste the stillness. Matt tried again. We're family. I'm your brother. I finally spoke.
No, Matt.
You're a man who dressed me up like a circus act while my husband stood beside hospital monitors. You handed me a $20,000 bill with a smile. And when I didn't break, you turned me into the villain. He looked down. I know. I do. I don't need an apology, I said. I needed it before the trash table. Before the posts. Before you decided to humiliate me instead of support me. They exchanged a look.
Desperate.
We just need a little help. A cosigner again. A loan short-term, his wife offered. I swear we'll pay it back. I smiled. Finally. I already gave you a loan, I said. You spent it on wine, cruelty, and your own downfall. Consider it paid in full, with interest and self-respect. They went silent. No more pleading. Just empty hands and full regret. I stepped back inside and said the softest goodbye they'd ever hear. This door isn't locked, but it's not for you anymore. I shut it. Slow.
Soft. Permanent.
And on the other side, I heard nothing. No knocking. No yelling. Just the sound of two people facing the silence they created. They thought the worst was over. That silence meant mercy. But mercy isn't silence. Sometimes it's consequence in a clean suit. That week, I got a call from a bank officer. A property Matt had used as leverage. The lakeside house I'd once co-signed was being repossessed. The bank was putting it up for public auction. He hadn't made payments in 5 months. Just enough time to book boats, throw parties, and pretend wealth instead of work. The officer asked if I wanted to make a private offer. I laughed. I want to buy it at auction, I said. I want him to see the name. The day of the sale, I dressed in quiet power. All black, no logos. My husband at my side. We sat in the second row. Matt arrived late, sweaty. Didn't even see me at first. He looked around like a man drowning, searching for a rope. Then he spotted me.
Still. Sharp.
Unreachable. He mouthed something. I didn't care to read it. The auction started.
People bid.
I waited until the number stalled at $290,000. Then I raised my hand.
Calmly.
$320,000. Final.
Sold.
To Dana Keller. His head dropped like a closing curtain. The silence in that room, it wasn't loss. It was awakening. He walked out before I even stood up. Later that week, I had the locks changed. Gave the house to a nonprofit that helps women fleeing domestic abuse. Let them turn it into transitional housing. 6 bedrooms. Fresh beds. Pantry stocked. New beginnings growing where arrogance once lounged. My inbox flooded. Thank you for giving us this. We feel safe here. Matt never reached out again. Because by now, he finally understood. I wasn't angry. I was done. And that house, it wasn't revenge. It was rebirth. From weapon to refuge. I didn't need to burn his world. I just reclaimed mine. And planted better things in the soil he tried to poison. She arrived unannounced. Like always. Same perfume. Same practiced warmth. But this time she knocked. I opened the door just enough to see her face. Tired. Lined with worry. Carrying a pie in shaking hands, like dessert could rewind betrayal. "Hi, sweetheart," she said. Voice trembling like she forgot how strong mine had become. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. Just stepped aside. Let her in. She sat at the edge of the couch like it might break beneath her. She looked around, noticed the framed photo of my husband and me on the mantel, a picture from the night we bought back our dignity. "I saw what you did with the house," she finally said. "I didn't know you were hurting that much." I sat across from her. Not close. Not cruel. Just clear. "You didn't know because you didn't want to." I said it without anger. Just fact. She nodded slowly. "That night, I should have stopped them. I knew it wasn't right. But I thought you'd laugh. Brush it off. I didn't realize how much you carried." "You didn't realize," I repeated. "Because you were busy keeping peace, even if it meant wounding me quietly." She placed the pie on the table. "I didn't come to fix it. I know I can't. But I came to say you didn't deserve any of it. Not the costume. Not the check. Not being treated like a tool instead of a daughter." Silence again. But this time soft. Then she asked, "Do you think there's a way back? To us?" I looked at her for a long moment, then walked to the kitchen, grabbed a Sharpie, a sticky note, wrote just one word: respect. I stuck it on the pie. "If you ever want to come back, bring that with you. Every time. In every word." She nodded. Tears finally fell. But I didn't reach to wipe them. I didn't reach at all. Because this wasn't a door slam.
It was a door frame.
And whether she walks through it again is up to her. As she left, she turned and whispered, "You grew into someone I barely recognize." I smiled. That was the point. Months passed. Quiet ones. No more surprise knocks. No whispered attacks in family group chats. No guilt-wrapped demands pretending to be love. Just peace. And the sharp, clean air of independence finally earned. The nonprofit sent me an update. That lakeside house? It had helped 14 women so far. One of them started her own business. Another reunited with her kids. They called it the Second Start Home. I visited once. Late evening. No announcement. I just stood across the street, watching as the porch lights glowed warm. Laughter spilled out the windows. Real.
Free.
That night, I received a letter. Handwritten. No return address.
But I knew the handwriting. Matt.
"Dana, I don't expect you to respond. I just wanted you to know, I saw what you did with the house. I saw what you built. You were never weak. You were just quiet power, waiting for the moment we stopped deserving it.
I'm sorry.
I hope someday you find it in your heart to forgive me. But even if you don't, I get it now." I folded it, tucked it in the back of a drawer. Not because I forgave him, but because I no longer needed to carry the anger. A week later, I threw a dinner party. My table, my guest list. No costumes. No traps. Just light, food, and laughter. My husband raised a toast. To the woman who built her boundaries strong enough to become a shelter for others. Glasses clinked. I looked around, faces glowing, no masks, no games. And I realized something. They tried to turn me into the joke. But I became the punchline that hit back so hard. It rewrote the script. No applause. No revenge parade. Just quiet justice. Solid peace. And the kind of freedom that comes when you walk away and never look back.